Hello, everybody, and welcome to Movie Couple Live. Happy Saturday.
Yes, today is Saturday.
Happy Saturday. How do we sound?
So far, so we sound a little like echoey, like we're in a little bit of a cave, but we're still sounding pretty good.
Well, that's not good. Nobody wants that.
Nope, I think we're good.
Okay. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. Welcome to today's show. This is Movie Couple Live. I'm Wendy.
I'm Dustin.
And on this show, we talk about the latest movie news and news and pop culture as well. And a couple of things we have lined up for you guys today for discussion is Hayden Christensen may be appearing in Ahsoka, the series.
We're also going to be talking about Ryan Goslin playing Ken to Margot Robbie's Barbie.
Yep. And more Wheel of Time footage has been released by Amazon Prime for the upcoming show. All this and so much more coming up on today's show. Hope you guys are all doing well. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday to come and hang out with us for the next hour. And I don't know how it happens every single time. Navi, this is your fault. That all of a sudden I have more room on my side, and that's going to bother me for the rest of the show. So I'm going to go fix that real quick.
In the meantime, speaking of Navi, someone who had just been all clean and fluffified. Navi's all nice and clean. Look at her with her cute little bows in her hair. So yeah, just last week, just a few days ago, we got Navi all groomed up so she can look all nice and pretty. And oh, she smells clean. She doesn't smell like wet dog anymore. I'm so glad. Look at everybody.
Until later today, because it is raining in LA. So.
It was so cute with the little
My goodness.
Oh yeah! Oh,
so
she gave me a grunt. She was like, "Daddy,
like, I hate you.
Why are you doing this to me?
Put me down." Oh, hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. I'm gonna mute that. There we go. All right.
Navi was getting back at me.
What did she do?
For the sound, you know.
Oh, she's like, let me wave my magical paws and screw it with the movie couple sound. Before we dive into Marvin Martin's super chat and suggestion, we do want to let you know what's been going up on the channel. And then I realized that I forgot to hit publish. So what I'm about to tell you is also inaccurate, but I guess both of them will go up after the stream today. So our Cowboy Bebop reaction will be going up right after this. And then a little bit later, our vlog for the Eternals premiere will also go up today. So we have 2 videos to look forward to. And then tomorrow, since I just said the Eternals, we will be putting up our non-spoiler review on the channel. I believe the embargo does lift tomorrow, sometime in the morning, early afternoon. I have to double check the time, but we are going to have that up. And just a big reminder, that is a non-spoiler review, so don't come into the comment section to drop spoiler comments, real or fake. I'm gonna delete all of them if it sounds like you're trying to spoil stuff.
Which sucks because there's already a lot of spoilers out there.
Yes, so we would suggest that if you're worried about seeing it, I know you can do this on Twitter. I'm not sure about Facebook. I'm really not on Facebook these days. I still have it so I can talk to my family back home, but that's about it. But if you go into your Twitter setting and you can mute the words like Eternals, or Eternal spoilers, or I don't know, maybe name of the cast members or the characters' names or something like that, to really keep yourself safe from spoilers. And you're doing as much as you can. I used to do this for Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
If I wasn't able to see the film as soon as possible, at one of the earlier press screenings, just in case, because you never know. You just never know when people are gonna either accidentally spoil something, or you walk by somebody's conversation and they say a spoiler, not realizing or forgetting that they're in a public setting. You're going, no, I could have, I haven't seen it yet. So that's what I've been doing for all the past Star Wars movies. I already have Spider-Man No Way Home blocked,
which is
on
actually
my Twitter.
Really smart.
Yeah. Now I don't want to spoil that for myself because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get into a press screening or not. So doing all the precautions. And Debbie says that's what I did for WandaVision. That's really, really smart.
Yeah, that's actually, it's almost like what we should just do for every single series that comes out. Oh, especially Book of Boba Fett and definitely The Mandalorian, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be spoilers galore with those, and I don't want those moments spoiled. But speaking of those TV shows, speaking of different kinds of things, let's hop on into our very first super chat from Marvin Martin.
Thank you, Marvin Martin.
So much for your recommendations of the day.
Yes, and super chats and Streamlabs, which you have linked below in this video, are just some of the ways that you can help support this channel. If you like what we do, help us keep it going. And thank you, of course, Marvin, for your constant recommendations. We really enjoy them so much. So today, kind of in a spooky mood here, Marvin says Superstition, Headless Horseman, Monster Mash, yes, and Friends on the other side, as sung by Jeff Castellucci and Voice Play. I know that Marvin has recommended Voice Play before, and as well as
we did a Voice Play dive for a little while, and I was like, ooh, these guys are really good.
Yeah, so these are all the songs that I definitely want to check out. Friends on the Other Side. It's one of me and Dustin's favorite songs from the Disney animated feature movies, sung by no other than Dr. Facilier. And then, of course, like Monster Mash. If it's fun, we put ourselves in a Halloween mood, we can go ahead and play that out. So make sure we screen cap that.
And I did.
Okay, perfect.
I've got all of Marvin Martin's screen caps, all of recommendations on screen cap.
Nice. Awesome.
So thank you very much. We appreciate your constant support.
Yeah, and if you guys want to check out these, we highly recommend as well. Thank you so much, Marvin. We have one more, I believe, from Vanja. Hey, Vanja. Vanja says, what's with all the controversy after Deadpool 2? It did well at the box office, and I liked it better than the first. I appreciate you. It can't rain all the time. It doesn't rain all the time in LA.
It hardly ever rains.
Which is why we're, again, in a drought situation, because California...
And actually in California, did you know there's actually a pumpkin shortage because of the drought that we are in right now?
Well, it's a good thing we don't really...
Because the museum that I work at is trying to get pumpkins, and it's really difficult for them to do that because there's a huge pumpkin shortage.
Wow. That means when we have pumpkin spice lattes, from most places, it's probably artificial. And they're not using, unless you go to a very specific, sometimes maybe like those, like, I don't want to call it a brick and mortar store, but like the smaller businesses where they have, obviously their output quantity will be as, won't be as big as like Starbucks. But honestly, let's talk about pumpkin spice latte for a second. Let's just break away
off of our subjects that we were going to talk about.
It's not even a part of it, but this is why we do live streams, because it's fun. You kind of can't predict what we're going to say.
Pumpkin spice.
I was so excited for pumpkin spice lattes to come back. That is like my basic bitch thing that I do every single fall. Basic witch, if you will. So naturally I went and I was like, yes, pumpkin spice. I usually do less of the sugary stuff. For my very first pumpkin spice latte of the season, every year I do this because I like my pumpkins. I like my PSLs. I always do get whipped cream on it, but just the first one. Try not to have too much. I mean, you guys, if you go on my Instagram, you'll see what kind of lunch I had today. I have to work out a lot later on. But it tasted so much sweeter than I remember. It tasted more artificial, but I asked for less. Like, you know how you worked at Starbucks.
Oh yeah.
So you know how they ask you to like put in different pumps, and it's just a grande. It's not even like I can't do venti drinks because it's too much. I end up wasting it. It's little. I'm so wee. And so it just tasted really, really sweet. So then I ventured out away from Starbucks. That's what this pandemic did for me. Is I was such a devout like coffee drinker to going to, because it was convenient to order on the app. You drive by Starbucks on the way to work, you just go by, pick it up, and then it's done. And because of the pandemic, I've been making coffee way more at home. I've got all the stuff. And I've also ventured out to other, milk tea, boba tea, or other coffee places around us that also have jumped on the PSL wagon. So like coffee beans actually much better. 85 degrees is awesome. And then for tasty, they have a pumpkin pie milk tea. You can get it hot, and it's delicious. That might be my favorite one. That and the 85 degree one. Sorry, Starbucks.
And it's just one of those things that comes seasonal. So enjoy it while you can. Kind of a thing. Yeah. But also, I'm not quite sure Vanja, what are you exactly talking about when it comes to controversy about Deadpool 2? I mean, I know, what is that? Because they've already confirmed that they are going to be doing a Deadpool 3 for Disney, but it's going to be underneath the 20th Century Studios banner. Instead of under actually the Disney Marvel banner. So I don't know. I think there are plans to actually bring Deadpool into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or at least once now have Deadpool in one of the many multiverses, kind of a thing. But I've heard that they plan to make a Deadpool 3. They plan on making it rated R. They plan on having Ryan Reynolds pretty much helming this, and also probably doing all of the what is it called? All of the advertising.
I'm sorry, I was reading.
Oh no, all of the advertising. I was just thinking of a word, and I look for Wendy when I lose my words.
So Vanja says people were complaining if it'll be all over for Deadpool after the second one.
I still personally think that there was still a lot of people going, Deadpool 2 was awesome, right, whether you liked it more or less than the first one. And people have just been crying more. We want more Deadpool. Right. We love this kind of comedy. We love this kind of superhero. I mean, and also the, what is it called? The heroic villain, the anti-hero. The anti-hero trope is actually doing pretty well between Deadpool, with Venom, with probably even some other superheroes that are coming out that are going to be more walking that line of hero and villain.
Yeah, I don't really see a reason for them to not do a third Deadpool. It's already been in the talks. I don't believe they're anywhere near beginning production on that point, but I don't think there's any intent to not do a third Deadpool. Let's see here. Vanja Love Entertainment says, I will admit that I haven't seen any of the Deadpool movies. Happens when you're busy. We know what that's like.
Pick and choose. Yeah, exactly.
Once it's on Disney Plus, I do hope to catch up. I think if anything, like maybe, and this is just speculation, that like maybe the R rating stops the younger audience from going in, like those who, and I'm not talking like 17, you can buy a ticket and go in. It's like, I mean like the young ones, like the maybe like 10 to 14 type, where you really can't just walk into a rated R movie by yourself. You might need to wait for the parents, and maybe said parents aren't comfortable taking their kid to such a movie such as Deadpool, because it's rated R for a reason. But I think there is still a demand for more Deadpool, and I very much enjoy Ryan Reynolds as the character. I enjoyed it's very meta. I like that it breaks the fourth wall.
I love that kind of humor.
The action's great. Humor. Yeah, so I don't know if
I still see kids coming into the museum that I work at dressed as Deadpool. So I'm kind of like, your parents let you see that? So adults are letting their kids see Deadpool.
Yes.
And they don't seem to mind the rated R-ness of it.
Yeah. Steve here says, Ryan says he's taking a break from acting, so after his vacation, we might get the start of Deadpool 3. Yeah, and don't forget, there's like, it's not just like, they know the audience wants it. I'm sure he gets tweets after tweets, when are we getting Deadpool 3? And when are we getting...
the studios give me money to do it.
Whenever, there's a lot of things that you guys know this, like, by this point, there needs to be production, casting, and let's not forget, we are still in the middle of a pandemic. It may not feel as terrible, or either that, or we've gotten, now almost 2 years in, we've gotten kind of used to living in a pandemic. But sets and everything are run a bit different, so there's still that. And when an actor is going on vacation because they need a little bit of a break, then let's give them their break, so they don't have. There's a lot of thinking and a lot of stuff involved in being.
And also, right now, Marvel/Disney is kind of packed, since they had to move back so many movies. I mean, heck, they just recently announced a whole bunch of movies getting moved back 2 months. So right now it's kind of like, hey, we have a full slate. We have some time in order to plan out what we want, find a good place for Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds can take his break from acting for a little bit, and then once we're all set and moving into into phase 4, then they can bring. I mean, heck, they've already there's rumors that they've already kind of announced World War Hulk, and if they're going to be going in that direction for phase 5, I'm excited. I mean, there's still a lot of things that they have that they can pull from. In order to, different storylines to do. We still have, I can't wait for Secret Invasions to come.
Yeah, there's a lot coming, and it's just gotta now fit within the MCU. So you just gotta give them the time to take care of it. and just let us. It's what's good about all of this is that we know there's is seemingly an endless supply of Marvel superhero films, and we know that the potential of us seeing X-Men and Fantastic Four may not be too far away, at least the announcement of it. And we know how already Deadpool in its own meta way have mentioned X-Men many a times, so it's gonna happen.
It's
but
like
it's just
Fox
gotta
couldn't afford any more X-Men.
but you just gotta happen in the right way, organically, and it's also needs to be planned out and casting and all that stuff. And also at the same time, try to keep it. I say try because now with social media and cameras everywhere, it's hard to keep secrets, but Marvel's pretty good at that. So, keep everything's a secret so the fans can be surprised when we finally get the news. So there is that. And I want to read out this comment by Martanta. Mataranta. I'm so sorry if I'm messing up your name. Who says, I saw the look on one mother's face when the stuffed bunny masturbating scene in Deadpool.
That's right.
She thought it was a good idea to bring her 10-year-old son to see. You see what I mean? Like, you can't predict what scenes is going to be or not going to be in an R-rated movie. It's a gamble if you decide to bring your young child to it, because then later on you're gonna have to, if they ask the questions, you're gonna have to.
What was he doing with the bunny, mommy?
You're gonna have to.
I'll tell you in 20 years. You'll figure it out. I don't want to talk about that.
Yep.
But yeah. Steve, and also another comment down in the chat is that Steve, for World War Hulk, right now it is only just rumor.
Just a rumor.
I have just been hearing chit chats from different places that it seems like they could be setting up for World War Hulk.
Yeah.
There was a theory that I saw on YouTube where this guy was talking about, when Thanos snapped the gauntlet, he had that vision with Gamora as a child.
Yeah.
When Tony snapped, there's that deleted scene with him and his older version of his daughter. So what is it that Banner saw when he snapped his fingers?
Oh, I got chills.
And it's possible that they're going to be bringing in the Maestro. So I would love to see something like that. Or he saw just how destructive the Hulk truly can be if he was fully released, and that's why small spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, spoiler. Just mute us for like the next 15 seconds.
Scene in a Marvel movie that showed Bruce Banner no longer as Professor Hulk, but just as Bruce Banner. So what made him do that reversal of, I got to get rid of this? Before it was like, oh yeah, take the brawn and the brain and combine them. That was a bad idea. Let's separate them again and see if we can get rid of the Hulk. So I'm curious on if it's going to be. This is all theory. This is all speculation. It may never happen, but I would love to see either a Maestro appear or to see an actual World War Hulk where he's just like, Hulk will smash the entire Earth kind of a thing. Because we've kind of got Planet Hulk from Thor Love and Thunder, but Thor Ragnarok. So I'm still super excited about what's going to happen in the MCU. There's so many different directions that they can go. So I'm excited for everything they do.
Yeah, there you go. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to our first story, which is not a fun one to talk about, but I know somebody in the comments had asked if we were going to talk about this, and the answer is yes. And by now, you probably all heard there was a very tragic accident that happened on the set of Rust, the movie that is, I believe, it stars Alec Baldwin, but I believe he's also one of the producers. Unfortunately, there was a really terrible, fatal accident that happened with a gun on set, and the cinematographer of the film, Helena Hutchins, unfortunately has died from the accident, and the writer/director of the film, Joe Souza, has also been injured. He was admitted to the hospital. His injury, I heard initially, was pretty bad, but they were able to give him all the aid he needed. And I believe I read in one of the many articles that he has since been discharged, which is great news, because losing one life is terrible enough, and I am happy that we didn't have to at least suffer two losses. But this is it's going to impact a lot of production moving forward. So we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But obviously, if you go on any social media, if you go on your YouTube, or if you just type in like Alec Baldwin, that's usually now the headline that is popping up. So what we understand happened that it is a gun that was handed to him in one of the New York, it's either New York Times or New York Post, that said that it was actually a first AD, so first assistant director, or an AD, handed him, grabbed a gun, one of the guns on set, off of a great cart. This is what I remember from the article, and handed it to the actor, Alec Baldwin, and announced cold gun. So what a cold gun means is that it is okay to, it means there's nothing in it. There's no blinks in it. There's no live rounds in it. It's just, you can, it's meant for rehearsal. It's not going to pop off. It's not going to flash, or it doesn't have any gunpowder in it. None of that stuff. It technically means it's safe to pull the trigger.
Point and pull the trigger. Because
there's nothing in it to cause anybody any harm, which means people can be near it. When you have a hot gun on set, that's very different. That is like one person is holding the gun. Obviously, it's the actor, safety people are watching, the prop master or the weapons master is watching, and they take that. And once it's been fired, because it does have a blank round in it, it is the prop master's job to immediately come and take that gun out of the actor's hand, take it back to their safety station, and do what they need to do with it to prep it or put it away. The only people who should be touching hot or cold guns, technically, on a set is the weapons master or the prop master or the armor. There are many names, who will then hand it to the actor who will be using it in that scene. And once they're done, the only other person who is going to touch it, again, it's the same person that handed it to you, or maybe somebody from their team, whoever is authorized to do so, and then put it away. That is it. I don't know if you've had any experience working with guns on set.
Actually, on set, no. I have not worked with any firearms before, but it does seem like there was that one little split in protocol to where it was someone who was not the gun specialist.
The AD.
The AD should not have been the one to go get the gun and hand it to Alec Baldwin. It should have been the professional gun, whoever is in charge of the guns.
Yes.
And that one person only. It should only be him and the actor that ever touched those guns.
Correct.
So, and I am just, I feel so bad for not only the loss for those people's, for
Halyna Hutchins' family.
For Halyna Hutchins' family and for Alec Baldwin, because obviously it's not his responsibility. It's not his job
to check actor.
The gun, even though he's a producer, but at the time he is in charge of acting at that moment. And it should have been the guns person, who was in charge of the guns, going to get the gun, checking the gun, handing it to the actor, taking it away from the actor, and putting it away. I mean, when you really think about it, though, even in movies like, say, John Wick, when they are doing all of that fighting, all of it is actually done with fake guns with no ammunition whatsoever, because it is too dangerous.
Cold or rubber guns is what they would use.
Yeah.
Because there's too many people in the one scene together with a gun. So imagine if it did have a round in it and it misfires, that's a huge accident waiting to happen. So just because you see it and it looks real, because it's a movie, so it's meant to look real, and special effects afterwards in post can help a lot with that too. And kind of like what Dustin is saying is, when you see in a group fight scene in John Wick where multiple people are doing all their cool gun fu, those guns do not have rounds in them. Those guns are they're fake.
All
they're
CGI.
100%, yeah.
The moving of the hammer, the sparking of it's all done in post effects before those gunshots. And there's very few times that they are actually using live guns on set. Now, and that's the thing that's also very confusing, is the fact there's live guns, live ammunition,
live rounds.
And apparently there was real ammunition on set that day. And there really should be no reason for that.
Here's the thing is, and I've read a couple articles, and they do throw the term live rounds into the article. So I would love to hear somebody who is a weapons master who have been working in Hollywood for a while to kind of speak about this, because I've had experience on a set working with prop guns with rounds, and they call them live rounds on the set, even though they were blanks.
Yeah.
So blanks essentially have the gunpowder in it, so it does the flash and the bang, but it doesn't have the projectile in the sense of a bullet. But the shell casing can still, like, that's why people shouldn't be around you when you do pull the trigger.
Yeah, it still has like a wad in the front.
And that's why you have to hand it back to the prop master for them to take care of that, cling it, and reset it for the next scene, or if the shot needs to happen again. So, like, based on my experience, the term hot gun, cold gun was definitely shouted around on set. And I remember we had, because we knew we were working with guns, it was only one day that we had worked with guns, for the day that I was on set for this scene at this location. And they reduced the amount of people that were on set. It was, the prop master had his team. We had our small team that was just filming that scene. And we got a bit of like a safety talk prior to anybody walking on set that day, saying, look, you're going to see a prop table with the guns. The guns are going to be locked in their cases. Nobody had the key other than the prop master. We were, as actors, we were not allowed to go near that table, period.
Do not touch.
They made it such a big deal. I was like, you know what? I don't even want to touch one. And they basically said, this is the person who's going to hand you the gun. This is the only person that can take the gun away from you. Once you fire it, and the director yells cut, you don't do anything else with the gun. And I'm like, you know what? No problem. So we did the thing. It went off. Everybody was fine. And then very quickly, as soon as cut happened, they came in. Thank you very much. And then I never saw the gun again. And it was such a small project. It was an indie film. So I imagine for bigger productions, if it was this strict on a small set, how strict it was going to be on this set. So the fact that the report said an AD grabbed the gun themselves and declared it a cold gun is a big red flag, for just based on my own personal experience. I can't speak on the experience of the set of Rust because obviously none of us were there. But I want to go to the comments because you guys are all talking about it, and I'm sure this is reminding everybody of the terrible accident that happened on the set of The Crow with Brandon Lee. And I can't remember who it is that read it out because I lost the comment, but supposedly the guy who pulled the trigger that unfortunately killed Brandon Lee, like, freaked out and didn't work for many years. Like, that's not something you get over.
And I'm pretty sure that's the same thing that's going to happen to Alec Baldwin. He's probably going to take a huge leave of absence after this. And honestly, I would completely agree with him.
Yeah.
Be like, this is a traumatic event, because he was partial producer on this. So he chose that director. He chose the other person, the cinematographer,
or the DP.
And I'm like, that's got to be traumatic to go through.
100%. It's so tragic. And this is 100% going to change how things move in future productions. And, recently we've literally just talked about bad working conditions for members of the crew.
Yeah.
An example, the IATSE almost had a strike averted, but the members still have to wait on it because the working conditions is harsh. Like, people think, I think people think working on set can look and feel glamorous because all we kind of see, and I thought that too before I really got into acting and auditioning and being like stepping foot on my first set ever. You think it's the glitz and glamour and the hair and makeup, and sure, you have somebody putting on pretty makeup on you and taking care of your hair and doing this and that, but there's so much mental preparation. And this is just for the actor. I'm not even talking about for everybody else, which is they're working everybody. It's literally teamwork here. You have to be mentally prepared for what you got to do that day, and physically you also have to prepare because it's hard work. You're up on your feet probably 10 hours plus. Do you get breaks? Yes, as an actor you get breaks. I can't speak for because I haven't really worked as a PA, but I know I've heard stories.
If you think any actor works hard, the crew works even harder.
Because without them, you don't really have a production.
No, that is.
What do you think the actor's going to go and set up the shot? No,
that's very true. I mean,
would they know how?
They really deserve a lot of credit, and they always kind of get just pushed to the background. So
let's go to the chat real quick because you guys have so much to say. So Martin says, how do you get real bullets in the mix? Why would anyone bring bullets to a set? First of all, that should never happen. We don't know the answer for that, but it should absolutely have never happened. Actual bullets should never be on the set of a movie, period.
Yeah.
I also
think what I heard from someone is the fact that they were going to do a shot of him loading bullets in there. And so that's why they were on set, because they planned to do that. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I remember I thought we listened to a guy that was talking
I
about
didn't hear
some of
that
the
part,
facts.
but if you heard it.
They were going to do some shot with the bullets either being loaded or in some fashion. So they had real bullets, and somehow they got mixed into the gun.
That's awful.
And then they got into that one shot.
Yeah.
So that's why everything needs to be so 100% regulated on a set, and only person to ever touch a gun on set are the actors and the gun master.
That's really how it should be. Love Entertainment says that accident is tragic. Although with good technology nowadays, I am a little surprised that they didn't use a fake gun and then CGI the rest. And I guess CGI technology is still not cheap. And I'm so glad that you brought, and it's not just Love Entertainment. A few of you have brought it up as well. So we definitely want to read about that. So following this news, and this is the first one that we know to go public with it, but I'm sure other production who utilizes a lot of weapons on set, like, firearm, will probably start to take the similar approach. So ABC's Rookie, following this news, has banned live gunfire from production. And the decision has been made in the interest and the safety of the show's cast and crew, because a lot of people are wondering, like, why do you point the gun at the camera? So I'll say this from my experience. There was a shot of me pointing the gun at the camera, but that was a cold gun. There was nothing loaded in the chamber. And also I didn't pull the trigger on that one. I don't even think my hand was on it, because you couldn't see where my hand was from where they were standing. And when I did have to point the gun at another actor, I was told specifically, so you can cheat the angle because of the way the camera was shooting. Technically it was profile. So if I were to point something at Dustin straight forward, or if I were to point at him here,
so if I'm like this,
you can't really tell that I'm not pointing directly at him. So there's like little tricks like that you can play with. So our prop master and our director directed me to not point it directly at, because it was a headshot. I'll say it right now in the film, it was a headshot, and they say don't point it directly at him. So I just aimed for like a 2-foot range.
Yeah, go check out
outside of the shot and pull. But also, again, I didn't point it, but it was also still a cold gun. It actually wasn't the live round that went off, because when I had the gun with the blanks, we'll call it the blanks, no one else was in the scene but me. No one else was in the scene but me. So okay, back to the Rookie. So and we guys, if you don't know about the Rookie, Nathan Fillion's in it, so you should definitely watch it. It's a police procedural, which means lots of guns. So they have now banned live gunfire on set, and this is according to a memo released by showrunner Alex Hawley. So instead now they will utilize airsoft guns with CG effects, per the report, which was obtained by the Hollywood Reporter. Hawley has implemented the decision is in the best interest of the cast and crew, claiming that, quote, any risk is too much risk. Couldn't be more true. And here is the whole memo. The tragic event in New Mexico yesterday has shaken us all, and our hearts go out to friends and family of Helena Hutchins and Joe Souza. As of today, it is now policy on the Rookie that all gunfire on sets will be airsoft gun with CG muzzle flashes added in post. There will be no more live weapons on the show. The safety of our cast and crew is too important. Any risk is too much risk. As always, if you feel unsafe or witness anything that concerns you, please don't hesitate to report it. My door is always open. Alexi Hawley. So her name is Alexi. I called him Alex for a second.
And it makes perfect sense. I mean, because honestly, you would think that with today's technology, we would be able to find a good alternative for something like this in movies, because how many movies use guns? How many movies have guns in them? Gunfights have some, just John Wick alone. 50%, more than 50% of the movie is gunfighting.
Mm-hmm.
So you would think that they'd be able to have either easy CGI done or some kind of gun that is not able to take real bullets and still be able to somehow use some other kind of form of flash in order to have that effect. But usually it takes a tragedy like this or some of these kind of events for that kind of technology to become fully implemented, because usually it's a little bit more expensive in order to do it. But it's kind of like, you know what?
I'd rather pay the money than lose a life.
Exactly.
That's how you should be, because you can make more money, right? You can earn more money or ask investors for more money or something. You can raise money. You cannot replace a life over, so I really do believe that moving forward, this is going to be maybe the procedure that more sets start to follow. And the memo also did talk about, if things feel unsafe, you have concerns, report or come and see me. And reading this article right now from abcnews.com, it says the day before the deadly incident, a large number of people in the camera department resigned over reasons including apparent lack of safety protocols. A member of the camera crew who quit the production told ABC News on the day.
Yeah, which is interesting that before the event happened, people are like, this is unsafe.
There's some stuff going on this set, which is why there's an active investigation going on there. So it says a day prior to Thursday's fatal shooting, there were 2 accidental discharges within 10 minutes, according to former crew member. That's definitely another red flag. So I believe, in the coming days, as they continue with this investigation, we're going to hear more and more about it. I did hear reports. This has not been confirmed by like authorities or like the production themselves, but I did hear that like because people had quit, there was a crew that was brought in, and they were non-union. So the standards and the procedures are a little bit different when you're working outside of a union. Let's see. The issue of gun safety had been brought up by camera crew and alleged brushed off repeatedly by producers, said the person who had already left the set before the fatal shooting occurred. And the crew had also concerns about the apparent lack of COVID safety on the set.
Okay, so it was more along the lines of they quit because of COVID safety,
as well as the
gun
safety, because like a discharges within 10 minutes of each other is something's wrong. And those guns should be absolutely looked at. I don't know if they were old guns and that's why they were like misfiring. I don't know.
And I'm wondering if this will kind of come back around to Alec Baldwin, because he is a producer.
Only time will tell. And he is right now being very, as he says in his statement, very cooperative. So we will see how everything turns out.
This is still this is still new information. We do need to wait until we get more detailed investigative findings in order to make a final decision on kind of the courts will kind of decide who's to blame, because they'll know exactly step by step, this is what led to this moment.
100% SAG is looking into this. IATSE's probably looking. There's a lot of investigating going on. And the final quote from this former crew member is this: you can only threaten to leave so much, and if they don't change anything, you just have to leave. And like I will say, that's not an easy choice, because that's your money. That's your money maker. If that's your job to be on set and do things, and you walk off the set, then like you're quitting. You're like, I don't know how I'm gonna find my next job. Is me leaving going to have you have to think about this too from the person's standpoint. Like I'm choosing to leave. I don't know what my next job is going to be. Is this going to affect also my like reputation for working on the next set, or am I going to be known as like the guy that walked off set? But then they obviously felt very, very unsafe for them to. That's a big deal to walk off the set. I'll just say that
it takes a lot to get to that point for a lot of crew members.
It is crazy. 2 fan says, "What is she drinking? Korean coffee from Mochi Nut."
There's a cool little donut place down by it's called Mochi Nut. Oh, it is so good. They're Korean coffee. They're donuts. Absolutely delicious. So
good. Amr Nail says, imagine in a set of a war film, guns everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's tons. I mean, look how many war epics, police procedurals, John Wick-like films. What else was I going to say?
Just straight up action movies.
Yeah, any action movie.
Movies like Die Hard kind of a thing. Yeah, there's guns all over the place. So, I mean, it's very much something that we have in our movies, and we're going to have, trust me, we're going to have a lot more. Heck, even in movies that we love to go see, Marvel movies, there's gunshots, there's action scenes that have guns. So there needs to be that structural procedural thing to go through every single time.
Yeah.
And it just seems like, it was one of those things that was kind of overlooked.
Yeah.
But anyways, moving on from that sad depression kind of topic to something a little bit more right up my alley, which is my wheel, so to speak. The Wheel of Time series has dropped some new footage of it's not really a trailer, it's more of, it starts off with Rosamund Pike kind of talking about the Wheel of Time, and I think casting of Rosamund Pike, every time I see more and more of her, the more and more I'm like, they picked the perfect person to play Moiraine. Because one of the things about the Aes Sedai is the fact that they are very, you can't tell what age they are. They have this maturity about them. They have this very old and wise kind of persona, but yet they look very young. So I think Rosamund Pike is a perfect fit for it physically, and her voice. She just has this presence, this powerful, just, I don't want to say overbearing, but this where you just concede to her energy kind of a thing. And that's something that Moiraine really has. And at the very beginning, when she's talking about just how powerful this world is and just the story, it gets me more and more excited. Even though I have to admit, some of the visuals that we get every now and again, it's tough because
you have this vision in your head from reading the book. And I think for you, that's going to be your biggest obstacle, is to kind of let your headcanon be headcanon, and then kind of be as welcoming as you can be for what Amazon has produced to give us. And just like, no, I think you have to train yourself, like going in, it's going to be a little different, which I think it can be really hard, especially for, book series that we love, that you've read for so many years, that, as readers, our imagination, especially when it's super descriptive of a writer such as a Robert Jordan, where they're like they spent a lot of time describing the world and its surrounding and setting the scene. You don't really have a choice as a reader, especially with a big imagination, to kind of paint the picture yourself. So when you see it on screen and it doesn't match what you are thinking in your head, that can be a little jarring. But I think overall, going in, and for me, it's a little bit different because I didn't finish the series. And I'm not going to now until I finish watching the series. And it's been years since I've read it. I barely remember stuff. I know the characters, and I know like kind of a rough outline of where they go up to the book 4 that I read. And that's it. For Dustin, I think just over a year ago, you
actually, it was a little bit more than that. It was like maybe 3 years ago. I reread the entire series, and it took me a whole year. But just so all of you know, for those who are not familiar with the Wheel of Time, it is a massive fantasy series that very much pulls a lot from kind of like that traditional storytelling of fantasy. There is a magic system. The books are like
they're so huge. Do we have one?
Unfortunately, they're all in storage.
Dang it, they're hardcover too.
They're hardcover, but yeah, there's 14 books, and each one of them are just like boom, they're a brick to read. But because Robert Jordan, the author, goes into so much depth, so much detail about this world, and I loved it. I love the series from beginning to end. There's a few books in there that I'm kind of like, nothing really happened. But it's just the fact, it's very much the chosen one is reborn, and the evil dark present, the evil dark one is going to return to the world and cover the world in darkness unless this prophesized one comes back and stops him, kind of thing, in this one conflict known as the Last Battle. And there's so many different elements, very Games of Thrones. There's lots of different power struggles. There's lots of different political intrigue and a lot of different magic users. And then you have the Forsaken, which is a whole nother group of very powerful Aes Sedai from the Age of Legend that joined the Dark One in this big battle that he was banished away in. So it's very epic. It's very high fantasy.
Yeah. I will say there is a slow build to the Eye of the World, which is the first book. But if you invest and just let it happen, you're going to love the rest of the world. And then Stardew was asking how long is the book. So I looked it up. The longest one is The Shadow Rising.
Yep. That's the best one, though.
And so it's got 393,823 words. basically 58 chapters in the book, which is probably why I didn't make it to the end of that one.
That one's, I mean, it's long.
Not because
but,
it's not because I didn't like it. It's because I borrowed it from the library and then I was moving, so I was like, I better give this back before I got fined. So that is why. Wasted Poe here says it's a massive fantasy book series. I never read it, but I think it's actually 12 books long. 16?
I thought it was 14, but
we all have different answers.
I could be.
I'll look it up.
I could be wrong.
I'll look it up.
It's just the fact that I remember I got to a certain point. I got to the book Winter's Heart, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to read the next one, but then I was like, oh, I heard it wasn't that good.
20.
What?
So Eye of the World, The Great Hunt.
Because you also want to talk
Awakens.
about. Yeah, you there's also a
Spring
prequel.
Awakening.
And there's also a whole bunch of
like a little side
stories. But there's also like a couple books that are like, you know, just kind of like not a documentary, a dictionary of different things. So like you can be like, you can learn about the White Cloaks, you can learn about what the different factions are, the different powers of the world. The world is really cool.
The Aiel.
They're so cool.
They're probably my faves in the book.
But honestly, this video that came out gets me a little bit more excited. But there also I am starting to have some concerns because the visuals aren't quite what I thought they would be, and also it's not. Since I'm a huge fan of the books, it's not following the book exactly in certain moments. So I'm like, no, I want it. Why are they doing this kind of a thing? They need to expand
on other characters
because they need to go through.
And it's also for TV. So
there's a ton of material.
Why are we like kind of glitchy here on StreamYard? Are we glitching? On StreamYard, we are. Are we glitchy to you guys? Let us know in the chat.
I think we're actually pretty good.
Okay, so it's just StreamYard. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and move on to our next one, but we're very excited for the Wheel of Time. It comes out in November, which is, I mean, we're literally like a week away from November itself, and I think this series is like November 9th or something like that. So it is coming soon. But let's go ahead and move on to the next piece of news.
We're going to talk about Lord Vader.
Lord Vader. Hayden Christensen may be appearing in Ahsoka, the series. We already know that Hayden Christensen was confirmed, I believe, to be a part of the Obi-Wan series to make an appearance, which like totally makes sense. You know, especially if you've watched all the Star Wars movie from prequel to original trilogy to the sequel trilogies, like you know the importance. Well, maybe not so much in the sequel trilogies because they don't really mention too much of Anakin and Obi-Wan, but definitely if you've watched the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. So now, according to Hollywood Reporters, who has the exclusive on this, looks like Hayden Christensen is also going to appear in the Ahsoka series. And I think I read one of our movie bunch who posted that Rosario actually took to her social media and wrote, and I don't know if it was Twitter or Instagram, but it says like, "See you soon, Sky Guy." Like in her own way, kind of like unofficially confirming. Look, we know that we don't count anything as confirmed until StarWars.com says it, or Lucasfilm says it, or Disney releases a statement. That's when we can say it's official. But right now, it looks like it's very promising that he is going to appear, which makes sense too, because Ahsoka, you know, her tie is to Anakin. Like, that was her master. She is his Padawan. So what are we going to see in this series? This is what we're going to kind of speculate here.
Because they actually don't tell you in the article.
No, we don't know. It's hidden.
We don't know if Hayden's going to be Anakin Skywalker or if he's going to be Darth Vader.
I'd love to see him as both.
Or if it's, honestly, I would love to see him as both as well. Yeah. But what I'm guessing is probably more likely to happen is that there will be flashbacks to where Ahsoka is having a conversation with Anakin during the Clone Wars, kind of a thing.
I want to see him in the armor.
Mm-hmm. Ah! And it's cool now.
Can they bring in that as Padme?
Oh, that would be cool. Because there's a lot of moments where Ahsoka and Padme do have some good moments as well.
Yes.
But it's one of those things that now Hayden does look a lot like Anakin from the animated Clone Wars cartoon. All you need to do is give him the long hair.
Obviously, because it's modeled after
him.
after him. You know, it's funny. I wonder if they will put Matt Lanter, who voices Anakin in Clone Wars, not in the role of Anakin. Obviously, that's going to go to Hayden Christensen. We all know that. But I wonder if it'll be funny just to throw him in there as like an Easter egg cameo for the rest of the Clone Wars fans. I feel like that could happen because Tufan is asking who is doing the Ahsoka series. There's only one person that'll ever be allowed to touch the Ahsoka series, and that is Dave Filoni himself. I don't want to say he created the character. I guess technically George Lucas created it, but he molded it and elevated it into a whole thing.
Yes.
So, maybe that's why it's glitching.
Because it's starting to run low on battery?
Yeah, so maybe we plug it in.
I'm going to plug this in.
I'm so excited. You guys know that Ahsoka is one of my favorite characters from Star Wars. I am pretty happy with the way she was presented in The Mandalorian, and I think because of that episode, I think a lot of people got even more into Star Wars and maybe got to watching Clone Wars and Rebels if they hadn't, dove into that. So I think that's really cool.
And also, Dalton brings up a very good point down at the very very bottom. Second from the bottom is that here I've been speculating. Hayden Christensen definitely has to be either a flashback as Anakin or Darth Vader in a flashback, and who knows? It might actually be a Force Ghost version.
It could be a Force
Ghost
version
of Anakin Skywalker, and I'm like,
so he'll be in his Jedi attire.
He'll look like he looks like in the end of Return of the Jedi, kind of the thing.
In the DVD release.
In the DVD version release of Return of the Jedi.
I remember not liking that.
I didn't honestly. I'm still kind of.
I think it's because we're old school. Wait a second.
Why does Anakin get to be young and healthy when Yoda is really old and so is Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Alec Guinness.
Why doesn't Obi-Wan look like? Why don't you switch Obi-Wan or Alec Guinness with Ewan McGregor kind of a thing?
Yes.
So I'm a little saucy about that still.
Yeah.
But I have an idea. It's probably, yes, it actually might end up looking like that. Because he would be coming back as a Force Ghost. I still personally think it's going to be more either a flash. I think it's going to be more of a flashback.
I would love to see him in different iterations. Give me a flashback.
All three of them.
Give me a Force Ghost. Give me him in the Vader. Is he tall enough to wear the Vader outfit? Vader is like tall.
You can always give him
pretty tall. Oh, that's true. They can apple box him too. So, but this is going to be just so exciting to see. Let's see if there's anybody else. I think there was one. Oh yeah, Debbie says this. Movie Bunch Debbie says, Mark Riley took to Twitch last night to talk about this. Do you think this could be Anakin as a Force Ghost being the advisor, or even as flashbacks as Vader versus Ahsoka from the Rebels? We were actually talking about that, ironically, last night, like in bed. We were just saying, kind of going over the show notes and saying we absolutely should be talking about this topic here. And spoilers for you guys, if you haven't watched Rebels, I'm sorry, but Ahsoka does have a run-in with Vader.
Yes. And there's this amazing fight between them. And if you haven't seen it, go and watch Rebels. It is amazing.
She's going to be in her other outfit.
It's so emotional. And honestly, I would love for them to be that. And it makes perfect sense too. Okay, so fan theory, 100% fan theory for me is the fact that Ahsoka will be troubled by these visions of Anakin turning into Darth Vader, being this incredibly dark Sith Lord, and saying, how could my master have done this? How could he have turned to the dark side like this? He was such a caring person. But then you have Luke Skywalker come in and go, no, my father turned from the dark side. He saved my life and helped me kill the Emperor. If it wasn't for him, the Emperor would still be alive, kind of a thing. And then Ahsoka can tell him about his father's past and how he was such a wonderful person and such a kind and caring individual during the Clone Wars. And you can get both of these people that we have loved with Ahsoka and Luke Skywalker finally knowing the full story of Anakin Skywalker, because Luke only knows the ending and Ahsoka knows the beginning. And I'm just like, I want to see that. I want to see that moment.
Yeah. So I think it'd be cool to see a live action Ahsoka in her various outfits, like this one. I think Debbie gave me this. And then this one as well, her Clone Wars outfit.
And then you still have all your pops.
Rebels outfit, yeah, all my pops that are still sitting in boxes. But it's just really, really exciting, and maybe we'll see her original Clone Wars lightsabers come in play in live action as well. Because so far we've only gotten the fulcrum model that we've seen obviously in the one episode of The Mandalorian. And this is really cool. Like the Ahsoka series, I'm looking forward to it because potentially maybe we will get to see Sabine and Ezra and Thrawn. So, and then you add Anakin or Vader on top of that. Like that is the show to watch. At least for me. I can't speak for everybody else.
And so yes, true fan, if you have not seen Rebels and you are a Star Wars fan, the first couple of episodes kind of starts off kind of like, oh, this is for kids.
And it's also not an Ahsoka centric show.
No, it's not until
really
much later.
Centers around the crew of the Ghost, but I would say like Kanan and Ezra is like the two main players.
Yeah.
And then Hera saves the day.
It is a great cartoon. Very much how the Clone Wars cartoon started off, and it was just after a while you're like, wait, this is for kids? There's people dying left and right, and stormtroopers getting just wiped out in this one battle. And it is an amazing series. Definitely, if you are a Star Wars fan, watch Rebels. It is a great show.
It is a great show. And we're going to go ahead and pivot into our next topic. I didn't have any way to segue into this. So we're going to not stay on this for a long time, but I thought it was interesting. We know that Margot Robbie has her Barbie movie coming out. She is going to play Barbie. She kind of, in a way, looks like Barbie. She's very, very pretty. And Barbie has found her Ken. It's going to be Ryan Gosling who is going to play opposite. Honestly, I, in my head, thought maybe it was going to be Zac Efron. Zac Efron very much looks like a Ken to me, but I can also see Ryan Gosling was not really like on my list of actors who I could see play this, but I mean, why not? So sources tell Deadline that Ryan Gosling is in the final negotiations to play the iconic Mattel character in the Warner Brothers movie centered on the classic and iconic doll. We have Greta Gerwig, who is going to be directing this. Robbie, obviously, like we said, she's going to be playing Barbie. So it looks like, according to the report on Deadline, initially Ryan Gosling actually passed up this opportunity because he's very, very busy, but pre-production dragged out and studio remained persistent with him being their only choice, and opening his schedule appeared and he's signed on. So they're now in the final negotiations. Look, if they said, Margot Robbie really wants to work with you, but you're going to have to play Ken. Sure.
We have this great job. It's going to pay you lots of money. You're going to be able to be with Margot Robbie. However, you're going to have to be Ken.
He's going to be a Ken doll.
Now, I'm also wondering what this movie's actually...
We still don't know anything about the plot.
It's got to be... I mean, honestly, I think the best way to do this is to go 100% slapstick comedy with it, because that's the only way you're really going to be able to pull this off.
Yeah, how weird.
Because it is just a ridiculous idea to get... I mean, both just amazing talent. I think both of them have been nominated. Did Ryan Gosling? I thought Ryan Gosling won a Best Actor for something. I might be completely wrong.
Maybe Drive.
But I know they've both been nominated.
Mm-hmm.
So you have both nominated actors playing Ken and Barbie. So I'm just curious on what it's going to be and where it's going to go.
Yeah, it's very weird. I don't know. I never thought I was like Barbie movie. The only Barbie movie I can literally think of right now is the Tyra Banks one that's called like Life Size or something like that, where she's
Disney Channel that's thing, right.
She was like
Tyra Banks,
and then she was like, yeah, Barbie. That was cute. It was cute. I was very young when I saw it. Marvin Martin with the super chat. Thank you so much. Marvin says, so George's message, this is about Star Wars. George's message is try to save your wife, you go evil, but save your kids saves you. So have kids, but not have marriage, because the twin. Well, Luke essentially saved. That's interesting.
I've heard some of the ways people kind of put that in, like, if you want to, like your wife makes you go evil, but your kids turn you from the dark side, kind of a thing.
And thank you, Debbie, for that. Gosling got nominated for La La Land.
That's what it was.
La La Land.
But honestly, I don't know how they're going to pull off a good story for Ken and Barbie, but if it's enough to get Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie at least interested in it, looking at the script and going, Ken and Barbie, and okay, I can see. I'm curious on what they saw in the script that made them go, I want to do this kind of a thing. So I'm waiting to see some trailers, waiting to hear a little bit more details on it, and see what this movie is going to end up being like.
Yeah. Armor says this about Star Wars, and Armor, also thank you for your super chat and your support. Armor says, this may be an unpopular opinion, but I think we need some new Star Wars material. Rehashing, recycling, or reimagining OG characters is getting boring. I think at this point we're kind of all done with like the Skywalker legacy, if you will. It's just in a way, I mean, yes, I agree, but also in a way I think it's hard for us fans to kind of walk away from it, because everything was centered around the Skywalkers
pretty much in all three movies.
I mean, the prequels,
all
the
three
originals,
sagas.
yeah. So it is hard, but I think given time, it'll happen. I do like that they're giving Ahsoka her spotlight, because I think she's important. She's only really ever existed in animation, and that's why she's popular, but not everybody. Like if I talk to my dad, who's literally have never seen Clone Wars or Rebels, he's not gonna know who Ahsoka is. He knows of her because of me, but he doesn't understand. Like, he keeps asking. He's like, so Anakin has a Padawan, but it's not in the movies. Like, he's so confused about it. And because there's a slight language barrier, I don't know how to translate like Padawan to Chinese. So I try to say it in English. He's like, uh-huh.
Well, I remember the first time that we were told, yeah, Anakin has a Padawan. And the first time we heard it, God, when the first Clone Wars movie came out, before the cartoon series even came out, we were like, what? Why? How can this happen?
Why would you have a Padawan for Anakin Skywalker?
He's not even a master.
I remember not liking Ahsoka at all when I first learned about her. And oh God, the Clone Wars movie, I didn't like her at all. But I liked Clone Wars, like the series, so I kept on watching, and eventually I just fell in love with her character.
Yeah, and honestly, the Star Wars universe is so huge, so rich, so there's so many things that you can do with the Star Wars universe that, I mean, Mando is a brand new character that we have not seen much in the original movies at all. Ahsoka hasn't really been in any movies except for animation, so they're starting to come out.
Yeah,
I think they're starting. It's kind of one of those things that as soon as you kind of like when you walk out of the water, you kind of have like a trail of wet footprints. There's still that trail from the original sagas that are being kind of moved from one era to the other. Soon they're going to become less and less, and the new characters are going to be becoming more and more. I mean, I would love to see something that focuses more on the crime lords kind of a thing, to where they talk more about the Hutts, they talk about more of the Red Dawn, and there was another, the Pikes. All of these different crime syndicates,
factions.
these crime factions, and to see all of the underground going on with that. Oh, we are?
Yeah, a little bit.
But
sorry, guys.
It's slowly happening.
It's because it's raining outside. It probably has to do with the weather. Anyway,
California can't deal with a little bit of a drizzle.
Obviously.
But it's going to happen to where sooner or later they're going to leave behind the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
And we're going to get more out of this timeline. We're going to get some of the old Republic. We're getting the High Republic. I would love to see a story that takes place maybe 100 years after the rise of Skywalker, and find out, Rey is gone. Maybe she started to build a little bit of a Jedi order, but then you're starting to see different forms of Jedi orders, different orders of Sith, people, to where it's more and less of a black and white and more of the gray spectrum in between, to where you can't really figure out, okay, who's really a bad guy, who's a good guy. You do have some people that are very, very justice, and some that are very, very chaotic. I want to see more of that spread and less of very bright good and very dark evil kind of a thing, and see more of what happens when you start mixing these colors together. You'll get these different factions.
Yeah.
So, and the Star Wars universe really does lend itself to that. Once you break away from the Jedi and the Sith, you can tell tons of different gray stories, I think.
Absolutely. So we're excited, obviously, for always more Star Wars, but we do agree we are ready to be introduced to some brand new characters. And then, kind of as what Movie Bunch Debbie has said in the chat, Star Wars Visions is a great way to explore that, because it puts you in that very similar feel, that familiar feeling of Star Wars, but in a very different stylized way, and I love that. So we have more of we got to film more of those reactions, but they're kind of evergreen.
Yeah,
I think Star Wars you can just watch anytime and anytime.
Well, and not only that, but what's also good about Star Wars Visions is that you can kind of gauge what kind of stories people want to see. So whatever ones were the most popular, like, okay, let's focus on a story that's a little bit more like that duel. That very
the first episode's so good.
I want to see a story of maybe someone who was not trained as a Sith, someone who was not trained as a Jedi, training himself, going out and going, okay, fine, I'm going to find anyone who uses the dark side and I'm going to kill them because they killed my family.
Yeah.
So they are not trained as a Jedi, not trained as a Sith. They've learned on their own, and they're taking upon themselves to cleanse the world of evil Force users.
Yeah, and there you go. And of course, we will have more updates on the whole Hayden Christensen thing once like Disney or Lucasfilm or Star Wars come out to like give us the confirmation. But when the trades report it, usually they're not wrong, but I also don't like to call it a confirmed thing until Disney or Lucasfilm or Star Wars comes out and say it. But it's just exciting. It's very exciting. Okay, let's jump into a little bit of Animal Crossing news, because we only put in this topic for me because I play and I love it. So we've got a huge update coming to anybody who is really into Animal Crossing. This is also, I believe, the final free big update for Animal Crossing. This is
free?
Yeah, free update. So
so the rest you're gonna have to pay for?
Well, I think after this, they're probably just going to give us like downloadable content that you have to pay for, including like the Home Paradise or Home Designer Paradise or something like that. $25 for a DLC. But you get to design 50 million things. Oh. You get like a whole set of islands and things you can, So I'm not going to dive into that one just yet. 25, it's like almost buying a new game. So I'm going to finish playing with what I'm doing on my island first, maybe redecorate and move around some things before diving into that. But I do want to just touch up on this really quick for anybody who is really into Animal Crossing. If you haven't heard about it yet, we're getting so many new updates. We're getting Brewster, which is a character from previous games. And so we're going to get a little cafe inside the museum where you can invite other villagers to sit with you in the cafe. It's like the most adorable sim game. It's really, really cute. Let's see what else. So November 5th is the date. We're going to get cooking as well. So you know how right now we can farm stuff like pumpkin. Pumpkin's really like the only kind of like patch of farm or farming we get to do. And it's only around this time of the year. But with cooking coming, we're going to be able to have potatoes and I think carrots and tomatoes.
And I think that's great because then you can have like your friends over to your island and cook for all of them.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, something that is, weird that they did not have that to begin with.
Yeah.
But being able to kind of do some cooking and be able to grow.
Mushrooms as well.
And I think that's a great, fun little thing to do for Animal Crossing.
Yeah, it's really very cute. I'm trying to find where the rest of the updates are. Why is this not showing me? Oh, we're gonna be able to go on the boat tours, so that's exciting. There is I think his name is Captain. It's like a little turtle or a little toad who sings and takes you on an island far, far away. So it'll cost you 1,000 of your Nook miles, which I have like over 200,000 because I never use them, which is great. I'm going to continue saving them so you can go on various island tours. And what's cool is that you can visit different islands that is on a different season. So sometimes Animal Crossing, depending on where you live, is going to, unless you kind of break the game in the sense of like switching your location and your time, you're going to get the season that wherever you currently live is. So for example, we live here, so right now it's going to be like fall/winter Halloween time. But if I am in like Australia, then it's a whole different kind of season. So it really depends. But the new island tours, I think that's going to be really cool. They also do a couple of things where, this is one of my favorites, we are going to get in like the very narrow spaces because you place furniture in a certain way. Now your character can actually like kind of sidestep and slide in, because that's always bothered me where I'm like, this chair sitting here aesthetically looks better, but I can't fit my character in there for them to hop on the chair. So how do I do this? And now they fixed that. So that's just one of the many updates, and I'm just very excited. So if you don't follow me on twitch.tv/WendyLee's80, you should, because I'm going to be streaming some horror games and lots of Animal Crossing. Oh my
gosh, I've seen you play a little bit of Little Nightmares too.
That's a scary game. This Sunday, guys, it's happening. This Sunday, I'm picking the game back up. So let me see if I can find like a bullet list of the Animal Crossing stuff.
Oh, just all of the different. These are
I don't know. I don't know why none of these articles.
This, and this.
Yeah, none of these articles. It's like telling me we're so excited for this, but it's not giving me like bullet points.
Oh, and also, Sarju says, oh, and POV camera, 3D camera.
Yeah,
are they doing that in?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
They're doing the camera is going to be a little bit different. Oh. And Blade says this. Here comes the new game this is the game I really wanted. 5 more days until Fatal Frame on Switch. Can't wait. I've been waiting for this. It's a horror game. You kind of like ghost hunting, but through a camera.
Oh, I've heard about this. And there's like, if you don't have the camera up, you can't see it. But as soon as you raise the camera,
it could be in your face.
It could be right in your face. And I'm just like,
I'm ready. ready.
I'll watch you play it.
I'm so excited. And this is coming from me, who's really scared while playing Little Nightmares 2, afraid to walk into the next room. I literally can't. I think MK just dropped a link to Animal Crossing, so I'm gonna go ahead and click on that in a second. But I'm gonna drop my Twitch channel in the chat.
Twitch.tv/Wendy Lee Zaney.
I appreciate you, MK, for doing that. Let me just go ahead and find
it. Put it up on.
Dustin once upon a time said that he was going to build his own island, and he still hasn't yet.
Well, because, I'd have to use your account. I'd have to use a different account.
Yeah, just go on your own Twitch.
Yeah.
You use your own Twitch.
I'm so far behind on the whole Animal Crossing train. But honestly, yeah, being able to I would love to be able to stream some video games. Yeah. I need to set myself up for that. It's just the fact that it's like, I want to focus on this and then this and then this and then this. I got to go to work. So,
yeah.
You pick and choose. And then we have to go to a premiere.
Yes.
Or go see this.
Yeah, this week's been busy.
I know, okay. I'm just so lazy.
So
I'm very lazy.
MK has dropped the correct article that I was looking for. So we will have a Brewster, the Brewster Cafe, essentially, that's going to be inside the museum. You can take the boat tour that we're talking about, visiting different islands with different seasons and settings. With Captain, we have now the gyroids are back. I actually, probably on an unpopular opinion, hot takes here, I don't love the gyroids.
Gyroids?
Yeah, they're these little meeper thingies that come out. They look like little fire hydrants.
Oh.
But they have like eyes and stuff like that. It kind of look like an automaton, but they don't move and they're stationary, but they make different sounds and they have different shapes and colors. But they are coming back, and I know a lot of people like the gyroids. I never did, but maybe I can like put a section of my island that's just like Gyroid City or something like that. You can now shop at the open market on Harv's Island. Typically, when you go to Harv's Island, you can only take photos and do like the wedding season stuff. But now you can explore the island a little bit more. You can go in there. You can cook like we talked about. And further support for your island life. So Nook Inc. will offer further support for your island life from group stretching. And I mean, you use the Joy-Cons to actually like stretch. So you can do like in the plaza in the morning.
You can do yoga in the morning.
You can do yoga in the morning. You have bigger home storage. I think that you can go up as big as like 5,000. There's also going to be like an outdoor shed that you can have. Oh. So you can do outdoor storage, which will give you access to whatever you stored in your home. So I think that's really exciting. And then, you can do ordinances. So that means you have basically setting your own island on its own clock. So you can say, I want this shop to open at this time and this one to open at this time.
So it's going to, for people that are like, say, work during the day.
Yes.
And only come home at night. You can have 100%. All these stores opened at night. 24
hours. Let's go. Let's go. I don't think that's going to be one of the rules. And then you can work with Lottie. This is going to be on the downloadable content, I think. Working with Lottie as a member of the Paradise Planning Team. You can design dream vacation homes. You can remodel. And you have roommate accommodations. Villagers can now visit your house. And then you can also be invited to visit their home, which I'm kind of surprised that they didn't do this right off the bat, because this was a new leaf like almost immediately, but it wasn't in this one. Let's see. And I think that's,
so they're adding a lot of stuff. You
can use amiibos. So that's why this is like the final free update, because it's a huge update.
And it makes sense if they're going to have another downloadable content. The next thing the next package, so to speak, is going to be a lot bigger, and that's why it costs $25.
Yeah. All right, you guys. What is our next topic here?
Our next one,
the final one,
but not least, is Squid Game Pops.
Yeah, red light, green light, baby. So, no surprise.
You have not really made it until you have a pop of yourself. Kind of thing. You're not popular at all if you don't have your very own pop. And since Squid Games is hugely popular, it's no surprise at all that they finally got their own pop dolls.
Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and share our screen with you right now. So that is, you can get it on Amazon, you can get it on Walmart, and Walmart actually has some package, like 3 in a pack too, where it's Kyung, the old man whose name I cannot remember right now, and the girl, so that they're 3 in a pack. And then you can just go to walmart.com for that. But I like this one because you see them individually. So we obviously have our main character right here. We've got some of our Squid Game workers. We have the circle, the square, and the triangles. I think the squares are the managers, I believe. But yeah, you have literally all these characters.
Well, actually,
why don't they have the red light, green light doll?
Oh, that is another one. But honestly, MK points out something. Why don't they have frontman?
That's what I thought.
Where's the frontman guy?
That's what I
would
thought
think that would make an awesome pop doll.
I think that's going to be like the next series, where you have the red light, green light doll. You have the frontman, the police officer isn't in it, and maybe some of the creepy.
Yeah, the finale, the VIPs.
The VIPs when they come in. But and Ilnam. I knew the number 1, the term for 1 was in the name. I'm like, Il something. Oh, Ilnam is the old man.
And you know what, honestly, one of the things that I have liked the most about Squid Games is actually Squid Game, my apologies. Squid Game is being able to go back and watch some YouTube videos on all of the little hints that they gave you that kind of give you an idea about what the ending is all about. Telling them, showing all of the, like, hey guys, here's this. If you didn't catch it, all of the little not really Easter eggs, but all of the little hints.
Yeah.
On just so you guys know what's going on,
what to look for. And it's funny, a little spoiler for Squid Game right here, so earmuffs for you, in case you haven't watched it. But I think by episode 2, or maybe at the beginning of episode 3, when Dustin, because he didn't watch episode 1 with me. I think you jumped in at the second half of episode 2 or the beginning of episode 3. But I turned at one point in the very beginning and said to you, I think the old man created the game. I said it, and he's like, why? And I'm like, I just got this feeling. It's when when I watched him play red light, green light, and the joy that was on his face. Like it was more than I know this game. I could maybe survive. It was more than that. It was something that was so joyous of him being able to play the game. It was something about that kind of hinted me at it. And then so that kind of was in my head canon throughout the rest of the series. And anything and everything he did, I'm like, it's just made him very suspicious. Him. Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah. So okay, earmuffs off. Sorry, guys.
But yeah, honestly, I would love to see more of these pops. I would love to see frontman. I'd love to see the doll. I would love to see some of the other anime taught me never to trust never trust old people in anime in like Asian movies, because there's always something up with them.
Yeah, they're older, wiser, have lived. So like, and also it's like he really had nothing to lose. He had this terminal disease. I think he had cancer, was it right?
A tumor.
Right, a tumor.
I think that's all they said.
So anyways.
Don't say too much.
I don't want to say too much. Well, you guys, today was a very fun, a much longer stream than we intended, but I think
but we love it because we get to hang with you guys more.
Yeah, and the first topic that we talked about like really took up a lot of time because it was important to, and I wanted to get everybody's thoughts on it as well, and kind of put it out there because like there's still this misconception of like, well, Alec Baldwin should have checked the gun. It's not his job. There's a reason why a prop master or weapons master or an armor is required to be on set is because they're supposed to be the one that handle these things. So, and then for people who say like, well, John Wick, they had to go through gun training, correct? But not gun training to, again, it is not the actor's job. Like, is it a bonus to have them be aware of how to handle a gun? Absolutely.
Well, and also, Keanu Reeves did that specifically because he wanted to look like he was strategic, like he was trained John Wick was trained very well. And he did it because he wanted to make it look more realistic. It's also from his Keanu point Reeves,
of view. So he's like 200% all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why. But also, all actors who handles guns on set, I think they do go through like knowing how to shoot, knowing how to, so that it looks natural for them to do it on camera. If there's meant to be playing a cop or a professional assassin or something, like even Jasper from Shadow and Bone, the Netflix series, like he actually went on and trained with those old style guns so he can look, if you're supposed to be a gunslinger and then you're on camera, you're like
fumbling.
Like that's not convincing to anybody. Like they're paying you because you're supposed to be to look like a pro for this.
I loved his character. They did such a good job on Jasper.
Yeah.
In Shadow and Bone, and I can't wait to see more.
Yeah. And Dalton says Halle Berry trained as well. Yeah, it's not a new thing that like you have to put in the training so you look good on film, and then you don't, you know.
Hold on a second. Let me see if we can still be heard.
I think so.
No, we can't be heard.
Aww.
We just got completely cut.
What happened?
Oh, wait. Oh, I can hear us.
Okay.
Oh, so they can still hear us. But hey, guys, we're trying to. Aha! We're back.
Sorry, guys. I think that's a sign that we should probably sign off. My computer is like, F you, Wendy.
It's starting to get a little
I don't like this. All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and say goodbye here. Thanks for sticking with us for the duration of the live stream. One more announcement before we go. We will have our Eternals non-spoiler review up on the channel tomorrow as soon as embargo lifts. Please don't put any spoilers, real or fake. Don't try to be that person. Be like, I'm just joking. It's funny. This movie, I think it's important for a lot of people. We don't want to spoil people's fun. Like, let them enjoy the movie. And then before we go, okay. You guys have heard us talk about this one at-home game that we play.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And a lot of people have asked, like, hey, are you guys actually going to put this private, tabletop RPG game? It's a Pathfinder. It's on the Pathfinder system. The adventure path is Skulls and Shackles. So we're all pirates in this, and we've been playing this for almost 2 years now. And a lot of you guys have asked, like, are we ever going to get to see your private home game? And obviously, the answer for a very long time was no. It's private between friends. It was a good time. It's a very personal story to all of us. But we've actually worked out a deal with the Dragons and Things Network, the DAT Network, who specialize in a lot of TRPG live streams. You guys may have seen like a sub show from that, even though it's not on the DAT Network channel. But we play Bedlam and Discord. Odd Jobs. We just wrapped our season finale. So we'll be back next season where I play, but that's D&D 5e. This is going to be Pathfinders. We're all pirates, and this is going to be the game. This is going to be the game right here. Dustin, you want to point to your character?
Oh yeah, I'm all the way over. I am this green guy.
The Goblin.
Right. Thank you.
Here, I'll point to you.
Yeah, you can point to. There we go.
This is Dustin.
And this right here is Wendy.
So you'll get to know these characters very soon. Our very first episode is airing on November 14th. It's a Sunday. I forgot the time, so I will go ahead and put that up on our social media.
I think it's going to start between either 7 or 8 o'clock.
It's about the regular time that we play.
Yeah.
But yeah, look forward to that coming up. All right, we're going to let you guys go. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for the whole day. And we will catch you guys on Wednesday with another live stream. Bye, guys.